Live from the THV 11 studio, your home for midday news starts now. Your weather impact team are the ones to trust. We have issued a weather impact alert day for tomorrow. Meteorologist Nathan Scott has those details. Nathan?
Good afternoon, Jurnee. Nothing has really changed here in Central Arkansas, but the latest from the Storm Prediction Center has now a 4 out of 5 risk of severe weather for Northeast Arkansas. And for the most part, I think what's going to happen is storms may initiate over Central Arkansas, but we may be spared quite a bit here in Central Arkansas. The environment is much more favorable for storms to go wild once you get closer to the Mississippi River and headed into West Tennessee and also into Northwest Mississippi. We also have an additional chance of severe weather for Southeast Arkansas on Saturday, as another system will pass its way just down to the south and southeast. Storm coverage, 2 different weather models here. This is for 6 o'clock Friday evening. And what I want to point out is there's not a lot going on. It looks like we could have a cap or a lid on the atmosphere that prevents storms from developing or getting out of hand. As long as this cap holds over Central Arkansas, we may not see any rain whatsoever. It may hold off until it moves over into East Arkansas for those storms to develop. So something we'll certainly be watching and keep you updated on as we go into the next 24 to 48 hours. Out there right now, it's pleasant. Temperatures upper 60s to lower 70s with lots of sunshine. The winds pick up on Friday, regardless if you see a storm or not. I'll have more on that forecast and the severe weather potential coming up.
The Razorback men's basketball team is about to hit the floor against Ole Miss. The Razorbacks stepped into round 2 of the SEC tournament. Our team is keeping an eye on the game happening as we speak. We'll work to provide any score updates throughout the show. Now, the Hogs forced their way into today's game only after taking down South Carolina. It came down to the final seconds, but ultimately the Hogs finished victorious with a 4-point win. A win is projected today, and it would secure Arkansas's place in the NCAA tournament. And it's a whole lot of hoops going on. Today marks the start of the Arkansas High School Basketball State Finals. Here's a look at the starting lineup. The 2A Girls Finals is happening as we speak. That's against Barton and Izard County. Tuckerman will take on East Poinsett in 2A Boys just before 2 o'clock. The 3A Girls happens at 6, and that's Lamar versus Dover. And tonight at 8, the 3A Boys game will happen between Melbourne and Osceola. Our team will work to provide coverage on today's games. Expect those highlights tonight from the THV 11 Sports Decks. Within the last 24 hours, we received new confirmation in the case of 95-year-old Belva Day. We previously reported that a body was discovered on the Little Rock Air Force Base. In the last 24 hours, we can confirm through Jacksonville Police those were the remains of Miss Belva Day. That discovery made 2 weeks ago to the day. When asked about further updates, authorities say they're actively pursuing answers.
Any indication of foul play?
Yeah, of course. No, not right this second. Again, still under investigation, so things are subject to change. But
we're always obviously open to cooperating with our community partners, and anytime we can cooperate with the Jacksonville Police Department, we're happy to do that.
We're still working to determine how Day made it to the base. Our team will provide those updates once we get them. Well, this hour we know that a Pine Bluff apartment fire left 6 families unsheltered as a result. We have video showing the Piney Woods apartments up in flames. Our team spoke with Keonta Washington, who was inside at the time the fire started. He says he heard screams while being inside the complex, and he wasted no time offering rescue assistance to neighbors.
Once I looked behind me and didn't see my brother and his wife and my nephews behind me, my heart really actually sank. Every community got its ups and downs, but yet yesterday was a showing that it's still good people out here.
We contacted the Pine Bluff Fire Department. No deaths have been confirmed. However, fire marshals are investigating the cause of the fire. In a matter of hours, the North Little Rock School Board will assemble for a special meeting. This follows controversy over a restructure plan. We took a look at the agenda, and there's no sight of the plan anywhere on today's docket. However, the meeting is open to the public, and we'll work to follow any developments that might arise. At the Capitol last night, the conversation centered heavily on thousands of Arkansans wanting economic stability. The ALICE classification represents a 2-adult, 2-kid family making less than $61,500 a year. Students could be heard advocating before the legislature. Their requests being new policy to help ALICE children reach their economic potential.
They work hard, they give their all, but despite their efforts, they are often one emergency away from a financial crisis.
Hard work should, not could, not might, and most definitely, not probably, should lead to a livable wage.
The legislature discussed a number of bills that could cater to ALICE families. We'll work to learn on how they move through the Arkansas Congress. Legislators also discussed the fate of daylight saving time. A bill is proposing to keep Arkansas on a permanent time clock. It has received opposition, and on Wednesday, State Representative Stephen Meeks called out the potential negative impacts it may have on youth health. The Arkansas Broadcasters Association also expressed dissatisfaction with the bill. The U.S. is in negotiations with Russia to a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine. President Trump has become an advocate for ending the 3-year conflict. Holly Williams is in Ukraine with details.
President Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in Moscow today for talks after the president threatened Russia with consequences yesterday if it doesn't sign up for a 30-day ceasefire.
But in a financial sense, yeah, we could do things very bad for Russia. It would be devastating for Russia, but I don't want to do that because I want to see peace.
President Trump threatened Russia with consequences yesterday if it doesn't sign up for a 30-day ceasefire. But Vladimir Putin doesn't look like a man who wants to lay down his guns. In a video released yesterday, he visited troops in southern Russia, wearing military fatigues and talking strategy with his commanders.
Even you, but you have...
Less than 2 weeks ago, it was Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, who was berated at the White House.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
And following that, the US suspended deliveries of military aid and intelligence sharing with Ukraine. American and Ukrainian officials appeared to reset the relationship at a meeting in Saudi Arabia this week, lifting the pause on security aid and intelligence sharing. At a press conference in Kyiv yesterday, President Zelensky said Russia's attempt to escalate tensions between the US and Ukraine had failed.
Russian forces currently hold the momentum on the battlefield, making it unlikely that Vladimir Putin wants a ceasefire. On the other hand, he may not want to anger President Trump by rejecting his attempts to achieve peace in Ukraine. Holly Williams, CBS News, Kyiv, Ukraine.
Well, some flowers have already started to bloom, and it could impact your allergies. We explain how coming up.
And if you're planning to go see the flowers this weekend, why Mountain? It's going to be a great weekend overall. Small chance there could be a spotty area of rain on Saturday as the final round of moisture moves out. And then Sunday, much cooler, but lots of sunshine, highs into the mid-60s. I'll have the latest details you need to know about the potential of severe weather on our Friday coming up.
And our weather coverage won't end once the noon show is over. Nathan Scott will join Chief Meteorologist Tom Brennan on THV 11 Plus. That extended coverage begins at 2. Download on your TV and watch for free.